Okay, let me just get a couple things situated. Let me make sure I share this on all my platforms. That way everyone knows we're going live. I'm going to turn that off for now because I actually did get a copyright claim on the last one, so I'll keep that off for now. Okay.
Life is expensive.
Damn. Love from Iran. Yeah, so I definitely think Iran will end up taking another Arnold Classic home in just a few short hours. So I'm just going to keep posting this. We're waiting for anything really. Bob hasn't come out yet. Really, the finals hasn't even started yet. Yeah, there actually are several things before open finals. Bikini and men's physique. But the lineups are pretty slim this time around. It's not like an Olympia level bikini show, so you don't have 30 plus competitors. Or I think they had as much as classic one year. So I don't think there are that many girls going on, and there definitely aren't that many men in men's physique. So and we'll get to see the men come out first, or the men's open, I believe, because I think they do the routines, put them back, and then they bring them out for comparisons, and then maybe they put them back again, and then bring them out for awards. I think that's the order. It's kind of out of order, but I think that's the order they went with at Ohio. Okay, so we are waiting for the Arnold to actually start. Finals has not started yet, and some people are coming in here, so we might as well talk about something. Um, so this really is a two-man battle, and like it was at Ohio. And if you ask me, it was even more conclusive than Ohio. Well, maybe not actually. I think it was just as conclusive as Ohio, at least. Hottie, I don't really see him losing this. I think there's maybe a chance, just because some things we can get to, but I don't really see that as being a very big chance. We're talking like a 1%, a blue moon chance. I just don't see it happening. But Hottie has gotten screwed before, like at the 2023 Olympia, at least in my opinion. So I think there are situations, a situation or two where he can lose, but I don't really see that panning out. Okay. So I do want to break down this top two because these are again year one and two. I don't think anyone's gonna beat Samson and or Hottie. It's just not gonna happen. They didn't even put who most of us presumed to be third, Akeem Williams, into the top three at prejudging. It was looking to be James and John De La Rosa, which John could be in the conversation for third. Absolutely. Complete, shredded, all the above. A little on the smaller side, but he brings everything else. And then Akeem, I thought he was on. I thought he was pretty good Akeem, but then he just wasn't compared initially. He was compared and kind of pushed to the center when everyone was dropped out except Hottie and Samson. So, in the call out for third through seventh, because there was only seven guys, he was kind of. I don't even know if he ended up in the middle on that one. But yeah, either way, it doesn't really matter. This is your one and two. Hopefully, we get a little more confirmation as to who is going to be third, because I think that's probably the more interesting battle at this point. But let's see here. Hottie. I made it. So right off the bat, because of the Gilco shit, I think Samson compared rather well. It didn't translate well to the live stream, so now it's a little more exciting. Yeah, I think so too. Initially, I thought it was Hottie all day long. I didn't really see an argument for Samson. But I think the gap was closer than I thought it was, but I still think it's Hottie's in the driver's seat here. And Samson is several rows back. But, there's certainly a chance. But Hottie just has certain things going for him that Samson doesn't. Okay, so once this video loops back, well, actually, I can just make it loop back around. We can go ahead and break this down. Let me check back into the Arnold, make sure it hasn't started just yet. I don't want to play the music because I did get copyright claimed the other day, but I do want to keep checking back in and make sure I don't miss the start of it, because it will go very quick, and I think the open routines will be on first, but either way, it's going to be very quick because there aren't too many people. Oh, what the heck. Okay. So let's break this down pose by pose. This is your top two. Let's just start with the front double. Let me pause it here. Okay. So initially, when Hottie came out, I thought, definitely in the live stream, his conditioning pushed him far ahead of Samson. And let's be clear, it's still not close. Like, there's a big gap in conditioning, quality, things like that. There's still a big gap. But Samson did tighten up compared to Ohio. I don't think he still doesn't have striated glutes or anything like that, but he's slightly drier and tighter. With that, like there are some things that came with that, as in smaller quads mainly, and I noticed that right off the jump. But he had kind of quad size to lose, so I mean, worthy trade off. But in this pose, this is interesting because I really like Samson in this one, and I think this is probably going to be one of his strongest shots going forward. I haven't paid too much attention to the Gilco footage, but Samson definitely did look worse in the live stream compared to the Gilco footage, so, it may be closer than we thought. But in this pose, Hottie has the better arms. Maybe at least on par with Samson's V-taper, if not a little bit better. And I like his legs more, Hottie's legs more, just because of the cuts. I would personally have Hottie in this one. Hopefully Samson comes in more shredded than prejudging. Yeah, I think he can make an argument for himself here for sure. I don't think it's... I do kind of have a bad feeling for Hottie, just because of some certain things that we'll get to. But I think Samson, he's not completely out of this, but he's got a lot of work to do, in my opinion. Okay, so I'd give that one to Hottie. And then the front lat spread, I was giving this to Hottie in Ohio. Let's pause it here. I think with Samson's waist slightly down, he's still a little bit of a problem to it. That's something we'll touch more on later. But Hottie, if you look closely, he has the more filled-in lats, but they are a bit higher. But Samson's quads are down and his waist is a little bigger, so his X-rim gets kind of hurt. I personally like Hottie in this shot, but as you can kind of see here, Skip Milligan. Hold on. Skip, the Arnold Classic Day 2 has not started yet. And then Crimson Carousel, yeah, the shoulders. That we can start to notice that here in the front lat spread, and this is what worries me the most about Hottie potentially not winning this, because we know for a fact the judges came out and said the 2021 Mr. Olympia that he lost because of his shoulders, and he was upset. He knew that. They announced it. Yeah, them a little sus. They are for sure. You can kind of see it here. It's going to be a little bit smaller on the screen, but they're just pointy. I think this isn't even the worst case of how bad they look. But I think Samson honestly has a little bit of it too, but Hottie's were really noticeable. I would still give this pose to Hottie, but I can see the argument for Samson. Yeah. I think with those delts, I'm going to tentatively give the front lat spread to Samson, actually. Lower inserting lats, his X-frame still pretty good. He's pretty imposing. Yeah, I'm going to give this one to Samson. As we can continue on. And just watch Hottie's delts throughout this comparison. This is a really close post, though. I think this can kind of go either way. Each guy has good things about it. And then we'll get to Hottie's individual routines. That way we can kind of see him a little more. You can kind of see it there. He's not even fully... That's... There's something going on there. But to be fair, I think Samson has a little going on here too. I think both of these guys never had the best delts, so I think they are both... It makes sense that they would both use SEO use and a lot of it in the delts. But let me check back into the Arnold. Still nothing happening. So day 2 has not started yet. Night 2, I guess I should say. But yeah, in this pose, it's a downwards angle, so I think Hottie looks respectable. And he probably looks better. He's probably more benefited by this downwards angle or upwards looking angle. But those delts, I don't know how they looked in person, but I kind of noticed them straight away here. And then Samson's pecs are great. And his side leg is definitely pretty good and detailed. See, Samson looks a bit square too. You're right. Yeah, definitely not as bad as Hottie's. And Hottie's was rough. Like it's that's the one thing that's going to be his Achilles heel. If he loses the show, it's going to be because of the delts. It's not going to be because of muscularity. It's not going to be because of the shape. It's gonna be a detriment being the delts. So this pose, I'm going to give it to Hottie in this footage, but we'll take a look at some pictures from a more head-on angle because I don't think this is entirely fair. And in the back, oddly enough, hold on, there we go. In the back, I honestly kind of like Samson a little more. I mean, I think Hottie has a little more density there, and that's not the same thing as detail, and Hottie's definitely wider. But... And especially, we're definitely going to take a look at the shot and his individual. Those delts are noticeable. You can kind of notice them here. If you can see my cursor, it's right there. I think I have my cursor turned on. But yeah, I think it was most noticeable in the back, to be honest. Besides like some transitions where he's moving his delts from side to side, I think it was the most noticeable in the back. So Samson's conditioning improved the most in the back, in my opinion. Yeah, I think he's bringing out a lot of detail. And Hadi has never been he's been dense. He lifts heavy, and you can kind of tell that. But he's never had the most like crisp detail. But usually, I think he gets by on that density thickness kind of look. But here, I don't know. Tentatively, I'll give this one to Samson, which makes it 2 for 2, 2 each. And then the rear lat spread, I'm just going to let it skip because I know Hadi wins that one. He's just so much wider. There is no synthol injection as long as Hadi gets dry. The shoulders seem pointing like Derek's armpits. I think there's something going on, and I'll pull it up so I'm not just pulling this out of my ass, because as much as I love Hadi, it's one of the first things I noticed. I still have him winning tonight by a clear margin, but because it wasn't that big of a deal for me, but the judges do not like that look. And the side try, I don't know. Samson's gut, it's not a gut, but I wish he had more stomach control here. Honestly, I kind of like Hadi, but the downwards angle does help him. But he's not that thick in the tricep, but Samson's not that separated in the tricep. I'll give this side try to Hadi. We're gonna look at some more pictures though. We'll get multiple comparisons in here. And then I'm going to let it skip through the abs and thighs too, because, I mean, that's a Hadi pose. For sure. Hadi has a history coming back better in the night show. Hani hears the criticism. And yeah, Hani is the master of the details. I've never seen someone work on the fine details that actually make them matter and actually make improvements there as much as Hani has with his athletes. Yeah, and then the most muscular kind of skipped. Well, I would probably have given that to Hadi, which means it's 5-3, 4-4 at probably the worst for Hadi. But overall things like conditioning, muscle quality, muscularity was probably slightly in Hadi's column because he's more complete. But Samson did narrow the gap here, I would say. Now I do want to pull up Hadi's. Let's check back in. Still nothing. Okay, interesting. They're late. But let's take a look at Hadi's individual. Isn't it built up scar tissue from bad injections early in his career? I think it definitely can be. It definitely can be, but the thing is, he was more shredded at the Arnold, Ohio, but at the same time, the delts look worse. So it's a weird dynamic. I would be inclined to believe the whole it's his scar tissue, because if you've been in the business for 40 years, you just do enough pins in the delt and it just happens. It builds up. But it kind of looks worse in a short, acute period of time, so I'm not too sure. What's more important, striated glutes or hamstrings and calves? Some of you need to learn that bodybuilding is about perfection, not bodybuilding. 5'11". Okay. Do you think Samson closed the gap a bit since Ohio? Yes, I do actually. I don't think it's enough. But it may be. Okay. You can kind of see right here. Let me turn. Let's see here. Right here. Pointy ass shoulders. Yeah. I mean, if Hadi loses, it's in the delts. That's why. And if Hadi loses this, it's because of the delts, quite frankly. I think he beat Samson in just about literally every other aspect except maybe shape, and I don't think the shape is that determinative of a factor because Hadi has brought in his waist and he has a pretty good X-frame himself. He doesn't look as blocky anymore. And then Samson, has some stomach control issues, not as bad as in Ohio, but still some stomach control issues. So, it can certainly, that's certainly going to Samson. Shape is, but not by a huge margin. But everything else goes to Hadi. But this may be a big flaw according to the judges. And then, yeah, you can see some definite inflammation here. Definitely. And I want to go to the back pose because that's arguably the worst. Yeah, okay. Well, he doesn't hit the... We're looking for the rear double mainly. Okay, here we go. Yeah, if you don't see that, you're blind because that is very apparent, even more so than like the Olympia, because I noticed these kind of like packs on his shoulder there. That's 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 gonna be something the judges are gonna have to ignore for him to win here. Samson has the same thing. Check it out. Yes, I'm not saying Samson doesn't. We're gonna check his delts after this, but right now, just as it is, hotties are pretty bad. But we'll kind of compare him here. His shoulders overpower his back. Yeah, synthol excluded, but yeah. And you can kind of notice when you watch the transitions. Yeah, maybe we can see a little more if he hits the most muscular. Yeah, a little bit there and there. But let's take a look at Samson's because I don't think Samson is free of this problem. I honestly don't. Not as bad, not as pointy as Hotties were for sure in the front relaxed. Hotties were really bad in that front relaxed and then the rear double. So we'll take a look. Yeah, some slight pointiness there. Still not on the level of Hottie. Hotties were like triangles. Okay. Yeah, and you can kind of see a little pointiness here. Okay. And then let's let him turn to the rear. I think you can notice on this right delt a little more. It's still not as bad as Hottie's, but he's not free from the delt issue. You just hope Hottie to not win, but I have to disappoint you. I think Hottie's going to win. It's as simple as that. Like I 100% believe Hottie's going to win, but there are situations where he doesn't, just like everybody. How nobody recognized the shoulder at the last show. They weren't as bad. They weren't as bad. Who would you say is an awesome example of really good delts for reference? Dennis Wolf, Rolly Winkler, Kevin Lavroni, Phil Heath. Samson already had weaker delts and arms to begin with, but if you take a look at those guys I mentioned, they have clear separation. Take a look. Maybe we can pull up Wesley's video because Wesley's a good example of having really good delts without any kind of jimmying up. So let him get to his rear double. Bob is making announcements. Okay, thanks for the tip. Let's.
I want to thank our worldwide audience. I want to welcome our worldwide audience viewing on our free live stream this
Even Brandon is a good example for delts. Yeah, actually he is.
Birmingham, folks, and we're going to have a great time here tonight because some of the best athletes in the world will be coming out in just a few moments. This show is sanctioned by the IFBB Professional League under the direction of our Pro League president, Mr. Jim Mannion. Your head judges for the event, Ms. Sandy Williamson, Mr. Steve Weinberger, and your IFBB Vice President, Mr. Tyler Mannion. All right, folks, we're going to get right to it because we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. The athletes are lined up and ready. The judges seated and in place. The only question left is fans here in Birmingham. Are you ready? No, you're not ready. Are you ready? Come on, folks. Give me a little bit something here. Here we go. Are you
Skip, I'll turn up a little bit. Let me know if that's loud enough.
Folks, I want to thank two of our sponsors here tonight for our live stream coverage. That, of course, is our good friends from ESN and Bucked Up. And our expo sponsors, Young LA, and our good friends from Italy, Panada, in the house. Folks, none of this would be possible without great organization and the leadership that we have here at the Arnold Sports Festival. Please welcome your executive director of the Arnold Sports Festival, Mr. Brian Powers.
I can't play the music. Sorry, I'll have to keep cutting in and out. But I did get a copyright claim on the last video, and I'd prefer that not to happen again. So I'll try to keep the music to a minimum. But as long as they're talking, I'll turn it back on. And this is the guy who runs the Arnold Classics, Brian Powers.
For coming out this weekend. 18 months ago, we weren't sure we would be back, and we spent a lot of time.
Nah, Skip, you're all good. I appreciate you.
If it made the best.
Live stream is better than last night.
But ultimately, it came
We'll take a look.
and Arnold said, "This is something that we have to do. That we have to give athletes an opportunity. That we have to give brands an opportunity to interact with fans, and we have to go out, most importantly, and have a great time." And I can tell you, walking the floors today and seeing families, fathers and sons, daughters and mothers, celebrating fitness, I was really happy and satisfied with the result. I wanted to thank our title sponsor, Panada, our title sponsor of the entire Arnold Sports Festival, Young LA, and our title sponsor of the strongman competition, Rogue Fitness, for their generous contributions and investments in our show. They are, in part, what allow us to provide the experience to you and the opportunity for athletes to make more money. Finally, I want to thank each of you, fans in attendance today, and all of our expo participants and our strongman attendees as well. You guys are what make the show possible. And without your attendance, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. There was a great man who once said, "If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life." And you guys give me that opportunity. And I can't tell you
Young LA sponsoring is kind of funny. I entirely agree. I mean,
so.
it's very interesting.
Further ado, I'd like to introduce the greatest bodybuilder of all time.
Men's Open, when do they get on stage?
Walk this earth.
I'm not entirely sure. It's all tentative. They even started this event like 30 minutes late, so most of you are not pro athletes nor judges. I was both and think Samson has a much nicer physique from top to bottom. Hottie is not as good as he was 2 weeks ago, and Samson is better. Yeah, that's true. The gap is narrowed, but I don't think it's enough.
But anyway,
I do have a bad feeling though.
great to be here, and it is great to have the Arnold Classic in England. This was always my dream to have it in England because I started my career in England. When I won the Mr. Universe contest in London in 1967, then the second time in 68, and in 69 and 70. I came back many, many times, and so I always credit England as my start of my bodybuilding career. Then eventually I moved to America, and there I won a bunch of Mr. Olympia titles and Mr. World and all of those.
What do I think about Baruz Tabani? I think he's great. I think he could have been top 8, top 7, maybe top 6 at this year's Olympia, but, unfortunately he couldn't make it.
Started out on a rocky road, but now we took over the production.
Listen to them pulling the pro judge card. Yeah, whether he is or isn't, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we all have our own opinions.
At the expo, and I saw all of those companies displaying their goods, and I saw all the excited people full of energy working out there and looking at all these different products.
Should be President Arnie. I mean, he was a mid-governor at best, had to resign because of the affair, which I don't necessarily agree with.
At the Arnold Classic, I mean, this is really fantastic. So I tell you,
Definitely a good attitude, but on policy,
this show is only
eh.
possible because of the great sponsors that we have, because of the great athletes that we have, but also because of the great spectators that we have. So thank you very much, and I hope that you have a great, great evening. Thank you very much. See you.
All right. I think maybe men's open posing routines would be up first.
All right. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you, Brian, for what you both do to continue advancing the sport of bodybuilding and, of course, this festival and this weekend. With that, ladies and gentlemen, the athletes are lined up and ready to go. So we are going to bring out our individual presentations for our men's open competitors. Please welcome your first competitor. Top 5 at his last Arnold Classic, From the right here in the United Kingdom, please welcome James Hollingshead.
Who do I think is winning? I think Hottie is in the driver's seat. But honestly, the more I look, the more I think Samson has a chance. But I still look for Hottie to be the better bodybuilder. Better physique is Samson. I'm not denying that. I think Samson's physique is very, very appealing. But it's not all about that. And I do have to turn that down, or at least talk over it, so that way I don't get another copyright claim. Okay, I'll turn it down, yeah. So James, unfortunately for James, I think this is kind of like it for James, because if he's not gonna, because we've seen him lean into being more shredded, we've seen him lean into being more full, we've seen him kind of with a mix of both at both of these Arnolds, but I don't think it's, this is kind of a ceiling, like in his competitive career, unfortunately. I believe he could place 6th if he was the Olympia. He could beat Hunter. I actually did a comparison on my channel between Beirut and Hunter, so if you want to check that out at some point, you can. It's I did it a couple months ago, but it's on there. Beirut versus Hunter at the Olympia. Yeah, I mean, James, he has a good torso, good legs, but he can't get shredded nor stay full. And his abs, not that good. Arms, are kind of small. And like I said, that peaking issue, that's his Kratos cosplay is cool. Yeah, that's cool. And I kind of I liked him more after I knew a little less about how he is around coaches, because around coaches he hires coaches and then just kind of does his own thing, and he doesn't really listen to a whole lot of people, because he said he was getting prepped by Milos and then he just stopped halfway through apparently, and then just decided to peak himself. Lighting looks better than it did yesterday. I would agree. It was really dark yesterday, which led me to the initial impression that Samson had no chance, but I think he has more of a chance, maybe like up to 20%. I'm not saying he has a 20% chance to win, but I'd say up to 20, which is still, he can pull it off here. I don't look for it to happen, but it can happen. James is looking like Branch Warren. Yeah, but way smoother. I mean, Branch never came in this type of condition. Maybe at like the end of his career from the backside and only in the upper body back. But like, honestly, I think the modern day Branch is Nick Walker. But Nick Walker somehow has better lines than Branch, which, if you can believe that. Make sure you guys like the stream and subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely pop down and chat. Leave me your thoughts. Like to have a good discussion going here. Useful analysis. I appreciate that. And James was always one of my favorites. I always kind of like guys like him, Ian Valier, and more successfully, someone like Tom Platz or Dorian Yates, guys that really don't have the best genetics, but work their asses off. I just like that, appeals to me, because I think my genetics are like, I'd say mid. I don't have a super hard time putting on muscle or anything, but I kind of like these guys that have to work a little bit harder. At least they have it harder from the get-go. Nick Walker's a mutant from space, absolutely. Who remembers when Branch fell off the horse? I don't remember that. But Branch was before my time, so how does he get invited to these shows? He won 2 shows 2020. No, he didn't win 2 shows. He won 1 show in 2022. So, his resume was okay. Now, Akeem's coming out. This is interesting. I thought Akeem, initially going into the show before I even saw prejudging, he would be 3rd. I thought he would be the only one comparable to Samson, because no one has... John Del Rosa may be like a better bodybuilder than Samson, better back, more completeness, better conditioning, but Akeem is the only one with the structure that even resembles Samson. John's too short. James looks insane online before shows. If he can nail in his peak and gets his abs sharper, he can really do well. Yeah, that's the thing we always say with James, though. If. It's so many things we've asked him to do, not just me, judges and other fans, but he just hasn't. Akeem over James, I would agree, absolutely. But the first call out last night was obviously Hottie and Samson, and then John and James. I don't know. I don't agree with that. Definitely want to see Akeem from the rear because that's a telltale sign. Akeem's side leg always looks freaky. It's an indicator of other guys' good condition, but not for Akeem. Akeem always has that freaky side leg. Akeem looks epic from the side, always. Even the back is decent. It's really only the back double that he has an issue with, because even though his lats are high, I think the rear double, I mean, you ask someone to be wide, and he's wide, so Nick doesn't have the symmetry between upper and lower body, with all due respect. No, that's fair. That's fair. But I think Branch, if we're still talking about Branch versus Nick, had an even wider waist than Nick. And perhaps an even uglier physique than Nick, in my humble opinion. Because even Branch's back looked unaesthetic, if you ask me. Nick Walker, at least, has okay control of his stomach now. He has okay taper in some shots. For the amount of shit he gets, he's okay in some shots. But I get what you're saying. He doesn't have the symmetry between upper and lower body, for sure. For sure. Now here comes Hottie. He's pumped. Confident. Yeah, the live stream, for those of you saying the live stream was better, it definitely is a lot better today. Even on a darker guy like Akeem, it was better. Hottie's looking sharp as F. Yeah, for sure. And he came into the show with, like, I don't know, he came in like a day before, maybe a little bit more than, maybe like 36 hours out or something like that. Not a whole lot of time to get acclimated, let alone from a 20-hour flight, I believe how long the flight was to get here. Hottie looking sharper. Well, I kind of expected this, and because it was kind of like the 2020 Olympia. He came in with 24 hours out and looked great. He was in straight fourths after prejudging. And then at the night show, then at the Saturday show, he ended up placing straight seconds just because he can make changes quickly. But, after a 20-hour flight and getting here 24 hours before, it's still hard to make drastic changes. But even at prejudging, he looked great. And I was talking to Muscle Discord actually on Instagram last night. And I said, any glimmer of hope that Samson does have better shine brighter tonight, and Samson better bring a better package, because Hottie will. I definitely know he will. And he's going to slam the door on Samson if Samson is not careful at all. Picture is mint here. Sound as well. You got this dial, bro. Well, thanks. I'm honestly kind of a boomer when it comes to this stuff. Anyone noted Hottie doesn't really have a routine. He just performs mandatories. Yeah, and some people criticize him for that, but at the same time, they don't even score the posing anymore. So I don't ever give him shit for it, because it's not on the scorecard. So, it's why even talk about it? Okay. And you guys are definitely keep voting in the poll. We have just about 250 votes here. The vast majority you think Hottie's pulling this off. Hottie looks insane, yeah. I mean, Samson is probably likely to get a little bit sharper, but I don't think by much. But here he is, so we'll take a look. I'm going to turn the music on for a sec just so I can hear what he's posing to. But I can't keep it on because copyright. So I think you chose something different. Get yourself an SM7B in the future, dude. It's the meta. You're going to have to educate me onto what the hell an SM7B is. Like I said, I'm a boomer. I have no idea what that is. You think they will give it to Samson just to shake it up? I'm honestly kind of expecting something like that. I have Hottie as the clear winner, but I don't know. I just kind of have a bad feeling. But I did last time too, and that turned out to not come to fruition. So we'll see. Samson's side leg doesn't look as sharp as prejudging. I wasn't paying attention, but I'll pay better attention now. I should probably add my analysis. Samson looks even better. I was predicting him to get sharper, but not as much as Hottie would. All of Hani's athletes are always Mr. Saturday Night, guys. Good poser, but Samson will never be sliced and diced. Never say never, but I don't know. It's kind of weird that he hasn't brought it yet when it's his main criticism, when it's his main critique from everybody. You know, it kind of, if it was, you know, a hard work thing, he should have figured it out by now, but maybe not. Samson actually looks chipper and sharper. Yep, maybe a little. Yeah, so I think Samson may be a little bit better, but Hottie is a lot better from finals from what I gathered. Um, it's just not enough. I still see it like the gap from Ohio was here, the gap from the UK is here, and then from finals to prejudging, it may be here or maybe even a little bigger. I don't know. I mean, I still think the gap is big either way you look at it. I'm starting to think he'll never nail his peak. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if it was a hard work thing by now, if he doesn't figure it out soon that it's not a hard work thing, then it's kind of like a genetic thing, skin issue, thicker skin, kind of like Akeem. But if he doesn't figure it out soon, it is that. Let's see. Samson's posing as sick AF, but he needs a, but he has a double trouble, triple bubble gut. Not as bad as Ohio, but I know what you're saying for sure. And who is this? Antoine? Maybe Antoine will get the best poser award if they're doing it tonight. I think it should have gotten Ohio. Oh no, this is John, my bad. I was confusing the bald heads. Low Def Dowda should be third. Brad, who would you have in second then? Because I know you're not the biggest fan of Samson, and that's okay, but I'd be interested to hear who you have in second. If anyone was going to be second, I'd put Akeem. As much as I love John, and John's a very nice guy, very complete, but he just doesn't have the size or the structure to. He looks out of place. Like, put him next, put him between Samson and Akeem, and he looks out of place. If they want to win, got to get Hani. Tried and tested results. It's just, Hani has got to want you, and Hani has so many things going on. Even just on the Olympia weekend, he's got Chris, he's got Hottie, he's got Derek. I think he may even have chip in on other athletes, but he's got a lot. He's got a lot on his plate. Can't wait for Antoine's routine. Yeah, I'm honestly looking forward to that the most after Samson. They might give it to Samson. I think there's a chance for sure. I don't look for that to happen, but I have a sneaking suspicion. Easy win for Hottie? To me it is. I see this as a Hottie win all day long, but I've been wrong in the past for sure. John has the best back double of the show, in my opinion. Yeah, his back is definitely above average for sure. I don't think it's like a Ronnie Coleman or anything, but kind of by default, he does. Very good back. I'm not taking anything away from him, but no one else on the show really has a good back. James has good elements to his back, but it's a weird shape and narrow. Hottie's back isn't super detailed. Samson's back is small. Okay detailed, but small. So yeah, I think John definitely does have the best rear double in the show. John is like a lesser Hottie. In some ways, yeah, more compact, for sure, more complete. Samson has such a great looking physique, much better poster. I think in terms of physique, in terms of like just looking aesthetically pleasing, Samson is the winner. But it's just not everything. All right, and here we got Antoine. Let me see what music he's playing. I can't play the music, unfortunately, but I think it's the same routine as last week. Brian has the best rear double in the show. Honestly, yeah. Even against open guys, I'd have him beating just about everyone except maybe John, just because John is like has like 60 pounds on Brian. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Brian is beating most open guys with his back, at least at this show. Oh, this is the orc music from Lord of the Rings. I've actually never seen Lord of the Rings, so I had no idea. I like the track though, and I like this posing routine. Samson has gotten better, shape superior the winner. If you're going from the shape lens, definitely he wins. But I don't, it's a culmination of everything. Urs robbed Brianna, now Brianna robbed Urs. Honestly, I kind of agree with that. I'm gonna do a video, another video, the third installment of the Who Robbed Who series, because I thought at the Olympia, Urs robbed Brianna. I thought at the Arnold, Ohio, same thing happened. Now I kind of think the opposite. So at least it shows that we're being objective. We don't just pick favorites, but I'm kind of leaning towards that. But I'll do a deep dive on it. So I'm actually going to put a third place poll up because I think first has already been decided by you guys. You guys clearly have Hottie, but we'll see who you guys have in third. So someone said, to I wonder what Shaban needs to start placing better at these shows. I'm not really sure because I mean he kind of he kind of needs a little bit of everything. He looks great on his own. I honestly think so. He's just missing a little here, a little there. I think genetically they're just better guys. They're just better guys that have literally everything: better shape, better condition, more mass, and in deeper lineups he just kind of gets outclassed. And I don't think there's too much he can do about it, to be honest. No way in the 90s they gave wins to the overconditioned Yates and not to the aesthetic flex or Levroni. That's true. That's true. For precedent, yeah, they do tend to go with more mass, more conditioning.
Folks, Birmingham, show me what you can do.
Oh, oh, we got him stripping down. We got him stripping down. I don't know. That guy in the back looks good. Even that guy in the front, he looks pretty big. That guy in the back though. That guy in the back. I don't really know what we got going on here. A crowd pose down, I guess. Okay, and then we got a little leg check. That's oh, the influencers, because I know that guy. I do know that guy because he recently just started taking gear. But Johnny Munster, Johnny Munster. Not entirely sure, but I don't really know what's going on here. Oh, flex cam is a great idea. Yeah. Oh, there's Kevin. Kevin Levroni. Kevin in the audience.
We're going to have the fan cam out a little bit later in the program. We got to do a little bit better than that, folks. I want to see a pose down. Any fans of bikini here tonight, folks?
Boo.
Well, we had a great prejudging for those that were at the expo. We have 13 of the best athletes in the world right here tonight. We're going to introduce our ladies one at a time, and then, of course, come back with a confirmation round of scoring.
Okay, so they brought out the guys for their posing routines. They're gonna bring out the bikini girls, and then I think probably men's physique in there, and then they'll keep bringing out open like a little bit at a time because they have posing awards and then also comparisons to do. So they split it all up. I mean, because I guess the ladies would be real upset when no one shows up for their division, but I think I think that's wild. But I think it's kind of it's very interesting. But whoa, honestly, I can't believe this. I thought this was a family event, but geez, okay. I love women, but I don't love women looking like overcooked rotisserie chickens. I don't like my okay. I mean, bodybuilding's not supposed to be entirely appealing, and I get that, and it's not ever going to be appealing to everybody. It's just simply not. Even men's physique is going to be too much for a lot of women and a lot of guys to even want to look like. But in terms of women, I don't find it desirable at all. If I was a woman, I would not want to look like that, and as a man, I don't want to be with that. But they need a place to compete, but it's I just wish they'd maybe put women's divisions on one day. But I think the reason they don't do that is because they would have a largely empty auditorium for the women's day. And I mean, it is what it is. So demoralizing the ladies for that when they appear on stage, the audiences leave their seats for a break. So, oh, I go. So yeah, I imagine a lot of people do leave their seats, to be honest. But what's worse, showing up to an empty auditorium or having people leave as soon as you take the stage? Honestly, I think the latter, but both of them aren't great. But you can't create demand for these things, so I don't really know. Like there isn't really anything the IFBB can do to create demand. There just isn't. They can do a little bit of marketing, kind of push it, make it exciting and whatnot, but the demand largely has to already be there. Let me see if I can't find some finals. I doubt finals. Oh wait, no, because comparisons haven't been on yet, so we don't have any finals footage yet. Okay. So I think I left off before we went to the show. I left off with talking about Samson versus Hadi, and I did have Hadi winning 5 poses to Samson's 3. Now, what we saw in the individual routine was Hadi getting a little, I would say a lot better. He's Mr. Saturday Night. All of Hadi's athletes are Mr. Saturday Night. So I think he got a little better. Samson also tightened up a little bit, got a little bit better. But I think Hadi more so. So I think Hadi has a good argument to win, the best argument to win, a compelling argument to win. Okay, I'm really contemplating just taking a break while the women's divisions are up because we've kind of talked about everything, but I don't really want to just wait here. I could totally envision that being a thing, and Fuad will do damage control for the controversy as usual. Yeah, I'm not actually the biggest fan of Fuad, to be honest. I never have been, but especially when he gets around athletes like Samson and Sam, I I think he's very overprotective. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of a weird thing. Take a break, dude. It ain't worth it. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I think I'll just keep the stream running, but move my face off.
Please welcome your first competitor. He is the winner of the Arnold Classic just 2 weeks ago. From Moringa, Brazil, please welcome Diogo Montenegro.
Okay, so finally they're going back to men's divisions and they're going to men's physique. I don't cover it a whole lot, but it beats the women's divisions, and if you ask me, definitely not the biggest fan though. And I don't even know who's in the men's physique lineup, actually. I better turn that off. Whoops. Okay. So Diogo is up first. I don't know how many guys there are in men's physique. They're single digits. There isn't many. 6, maybe 7. Yeah, I just don't get this division. I got several requests to cover it, but I just don't get it, and I don't even get the appeal, especially now the classics around. I don't even get the appeal, let alone what like the judging criteria. It seems like the guys like Hart McGrath who watch division don't know how the division is judged. That's because no one knows how the division is judged. I mean, it's kind of like bikini. Like the placings change on a whim. Like from show to show, they'll change, and like not just like, oh, we have an upset here and first becomes second. No, like they change places a lot. Like Chiron ended up beating Aaron Banks at the Legion Sports Fest, but then was all the way down like 6th or 7th at the Olympia. And really, they don't change a whole lot. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I compete men's physique myself. None of us know how the judging works. My fellow competitors are confused after shows. Yeah, I get that. But it's definitely a nice entry-level class. I think it is kind of like at this point, kind of a way to get a lot of people into the sport. Like it's definitely the most, it's the biggest division at the amateur level by far, even more than classic. So they're having some technical difficulties there. Bro, I audibly LOL'd. They should make a bikini and men's swimming trunks. They should make bikini and men's swimming trunks couple performance. Forget the single stuff. Would be a better sportswear advertisement. Honestly, I think they used to have like a couples posing, which I mean, not all of them were couples, but you know, it'd be male and female posing. Then you have Ryan Terry losing to a guy who places out of the top 5, then wins the Olympia the same year. Yeah, exactly. And I hate to say, there's just not enough difference in there to justify the different placings. It's just coming from the judges, not from the athletes. So very hard to follow this division. And it's not even like the look like I have envisioned for this division. Like I prefer, like Jeremy Buendia in the late 2010s was already pushing it. Like I think this division needs to be, if there's going to be a natural division or a drug tested division, which they never work, there never should be one. But if there was ever going to be one, it should be men's physique. Like I mean, I like this guy, but do I like him more than Diogo? Maybe today. I think Diogo got a little worse at the Arnold UK from just what I've seen. But again, I'm not really looking. Do I still have the sexist poll up? I'm gonna take that down. Or maybe I don't. I don't really know. That would be like Hottie dropping 5th place and John winning the show. Yeah, it's crazy. The amount these guys change, and for no reason. They were wanting so a 180-pound division back in 2018. I think it was for naturals only. they were wanting to do a 180-pound division back in 2018. I think it was for naturals only. You know, I kind of like the idea of like having like some kind of natural division, but the thing is, it's just so hard to enforce. You kind of have to do like around the year drug testing, and you know, not everyone qualifies, not everyone competes in the same year. So you know, there's a lot of logistical things you run into, and there's so many designer drugs out there that are made to evade these drug panels that it just doesn't work. I'd love to see a natural division because I do want to see, as much as I want to see freaks in the open and even in classic, I think they're freaky in their own way. I'd like to see, you know, something truly naturally attainable, but maybe that's what the Olympia needs, honestly, a drug tested division, because even if it's not, even if there are some people that get by, it still's a very marketable thing. Like, oh, here's the drug tested division, but then it kind of says the quiet part out loud about all the other divisions and what they allow. So maybe not. Think a woman would pose with that guy would be nicer for the eye, but it's just so the guys don't want to do classic. Yeah, I mean, I see it, especially now. I like how they are showing the legs more and judging them more, but it is getting a little close to classic. But they have the weight cap there, so maybe a little less close to classic. And I think the weight cap should probably be 20 pounds less than classic, not just 10 pounds less than classic. I want a clear difference between these, and not just like in terms of posing trunks. I want a clear difference between these from criteria down. Samson's legs were smaller. Yes, Samson's legs actually were smaller compared to Ohio, because, you know, Samson has crazy quads, so he had quads to spare. It's not like he was out of balance, but they were definitely downsized. But he came in a little tighter, so I think it was a worthy trade-off. Should be about it. Oh, shit.
And folks, while I have a second, I'd like to give credit to our three winners last night right here on this stage, all qualified for the 2024 Olympia. In fitness, Jacqueline Baker. Wellness, Leonida Siobu. And in classic physique, Leslie Vissers makes it 2 in a row. And we'll see.
Okay. So, thank God, I think they're only going to do one call out for this, because, I mean, the call outs are always quick because they don't pose. They do a front and a back thing, but, okay, hold on. This is literally the division that hides the legs, and they say they can judge legs. Well, yeah, they are now. They made the shorts a little higher. Okay, so that's what I don't want to understand. Jeremy Buendia was over 200 at the O. Now he can't go over 175. WTF? Yeah, it's weird, and it's definitely like it will force some guys out of the division, but I think that's what they want. They kind of want to reset. Definitely not fair though. Take the weight cap off of classic. Dudes look too depleted oftentimes. The thing is, I like that idea, but the problem is they don't have a set criteria for classic. If they did, they could remove the weight cap, but they don't have a set criteria for classic, which means it will just slowly become another open division. Maybe not in the same time, maybe it will take 50 years, but the judges cannot trust themselves to actually judge classically. So, and with proportions, maybe, you know, they'll lean to the guys with the small waist, but it's always going to come down to muscularity, and the biggest guy is going to win if there is no weight cap. I see it quickly becoming that. Samson traded a slightly better back for smaller legs, I guess. Yeah, I would say so. Classic physique has become shaky in the judging department too. Wesley placed really low, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's not that improved. I kind of had the same thought. Someone brought that up in chat yesterday. Like, he leapfrogged everyone in the world besides Chris, but there were improvements, but not like enough to leapfrog everyone in the world. But I mean, at that show, who was going to beat him? Maybe Ramon, but I don't really know, because Ramon was a little off too. I think maybe he kind of skated there, and now he's kind of just riding that hype train. I'm not too sure. Corey was 6th at Ohio, now he's in the middle. Yeah, sounds about right. I don't think Diogo's going to win this one though. Just from what I saw. F, dude, when you're right, you're right. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, but I like to stay objective as much as I can. So I think maybe Open's coming out now.
Judging right here on this stage, we just seen their individual routines.
Yeah.
Now it is time for the all-important confirmation round.
Okay.
Our Arnold Classic Open Men presented by Panada.
Now this is really going to be a real test.
This time all 7 on stage, please.
All 7 of them.
Folks, I'm
The
told by
stacked
the
lineup.
judges, this is a very, very close competition, and this confirmation round is being judged live here tonight. So be as loud as
Yeah, that's not a good side for Hottie then. If that is true, and if that's just not just for the hype.
fans. Where are they?
Let me turn this down. If that's not just for the hype, then that should be worrying for Hottie, because it shouldn't be close. And if it is close, I think we've seen time and again recently, if it is close, they kind of err on the side of shade. I think a lot of the guys at the top were all just off, and he came in perfect. Wesley honestly was the most vintage out of everyone. He has such a unique look. Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened. But at the Olympia, I don't think he's going to beat C-Bomb. I don't think he beats a better Ramon, but I'm going to do a video on that. I already did a video on Wesley versus C-Bomb. 5-0 in C-Bomb's favor. They're trying to push some kind of narrative. Yeah, I definitely get that. Let me put out one final poll before this comes on. There we go. Akeem instead of James in this top call out in this top 4. That's what we needed for sure.
Akeem and John, switch, please.
Definitely like seeing Akeem in the top 3. So he's going to be battling for John for that top 3 spot. The problem is John's maybe a better bodybuilder, but Akeem is closer to Samson, so it's kind of a weird dynamic there. Samson is already sweaty. Well, I mean, he's a water buffalo, so yeah. And this one, you could maybe give this one to Samson because it's probably going to be his strongest pose. Throw him a bone there, but I would have Hottie. Here I'd probably. I think Samson's pretty strong in this one, but Hottie's lats are wider, but Samson's insert lower. Hottie's the winner already, but they want Samson to be. Oh, they desperately want Samson to be the winner. Desperately. I'd have, this is another one that's like, if it's close, I'm trying to be objective here. They'd probably go with Samson. I'm trying to see what the judges would think. So maybe you can throw Samson that one in there. I probably wouldn't agree, but maybe that's what the judges are thinking. I'm nervous for Hottie for some reason, especially after Bob Chick said it was close per the judges. If it's close, they'll give it to Samson. I'm sorry. As much as I love Hottie, but that's what's going to happen if it is truly close. Yeah, and now you guys are, the votes, not too many votes in, but you guys are split 50-50 now. Even though my heart is telling me Hottie. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think I'm kind of reading the room here and getting the vibe. I kind of, I don't know, I kind of look for Hottie to get upset here. Not literally upset, but we'll see. Maybe he'll walk off the stage again. That'd be hilarious. Hottie deserves it. I mean, he came early to the country too. I think Hottie's the better bodybuilder for sure. Samson's stomach and his abs and thighs is abysmal. Derek's maybe better. Because at least Derek has a better vacuum. They both have absolutely terrible abs and thighs, but Samson with his lack of stomach control may even be worse than Derek. At least in that top 3 for abs and thighs. And then Hottie, I'd go with Hottie there easily. Just the quality. Quantity, maybe slightly go to Samson because he's just so full. But I like Hottie because he's just as muscular, but he brings the quality. Is that it? Okay. Hottie's going to pull a Nick Walker and get robbed. Maybe. Samson has a weird gut, yeah. Okay, they'll probably bring Samson and Hottie out one more time. but he always gets praised for it. Yeah, it's Samson was like the beacon of aesthetics for a while, but I saw even like at the 2023 Arnold some scenarios, a couple seconds here and there where he would let it go. And then in the lead up to this, I saw it getting touched on by the fans. And then now it is an issue. Like the gut is an issue. But no one really wants to talk about it because, he's like the second coming of aesthetics and massive class, but I don't know. Antoine, I think, kind of dropped the ball. I think he looks better than at prejudging for sure. At prejudging, I think he was maybe flat. Definitely smooth. Didn't have the details that he does tonight, but he still, I think, looked better in Ohio. And James gets pushed to this last call out, and he's in the center, which means he's probably fifth, but top 5 in a show of 7 doesn't mean a whole lot. I would still have John above him, to be honest. Like, James is just slightly bigger, but John is more complete. So hopefully they don't move James back into that lineup, but at prejudging it was James and John. I remember a similar thing happening with Sean Roan's stomach. Yeah, Samson is not super young. So, actually, no. I think he... Who was... No, it's James, who I thought was like 40 or like 38. And James is actually, get this, 33. I thought James was a lot older, but no, James is like 33 years old. But no, that stomach thing kind of happens with age. James's midsection is so smooth. Yeah, and I don't really think it's necessarily a peaking issue. I think the peaking issue is evident in other places. I think James just has terrible abs. They always look washed out because they're non-existent. Samson is the Keon of open. Yeah, and everyone talks about how good Keon looks and how aesthetic he is, but that ab split grosses me out. That is literally what pregnant women get. Vacuum carries them. And the vacuum is only passable, in my opinion, in the front double, a little in the front lat, and it should be only in the abs and thighs as a variation. If you cannot show abs in your abs and thighs, then you should be disqualified from the pose, quite frankly. Like Derek, oh yeah, he has a great abs and thighs when he hits a vacuum, but that's not an abs and thighs. So now we actually have a battle for top 3, John versus Akeem. This is great. This is what I want to see. I think this is probably going to be more competitive, but we'll see. Because the judges said maybe top 1 and 2 are competitive. Front double, I gotta have Akeem there. Akeem's arms are insane. Even though he has high lats, his structure is much better than John's. Damn. The Keon didn't have the absolute, he'd be so perfect. I agree. And it just grows while he grows. I'd probably have Akeem in that one as well, the front lat spread. Side chest, definitely Akeem. Akeem is a monster. It's just he's so much bigger than John. Love this comparison, yeah. And now the back double, I don't even need to see it. Yeah, that is one pose John has over Akeem. It's not a structure pose. It's just John's packing on more muscle in the right areas. Lower lats, things like that. Who do you think is going to be Mr. The Olympia in the open division this year? I think, unfortunately, it's going to be Derek. I would give that one to probably... I'd give both back poses to John, but Akeem is a little bit wider, but I only got a quick look at that. I wasn't really paying attention. Side tricep. John's pretty good. He's pretty stacked. He's a compact guy, but Akeem, he's just carrying more mass. And that's 4 poses for Akeem. They have 2 left. I think John has the better abs. Akeem has the better quads, but Akeem's abs aren't super bad. I'll leave that one off the table. I think I really only need to see the most muscular, which is probably going to be an Akeem pose. I hope he hits the crab because I don't like this one so much for him. He probably still wins, but I really want to see that crab from Akeem. No, I'd still probably give it to him because he is just the more muscular guy. He's just so much bigger. Okay, so they're going to run him again, so I think this is probably maybe the closest spots. But I had Akeem winning 5 poses, maybe 6. Minimum 4. I think Akeem will take it here, at least at finals. I don't know what it was like at prejudging because they didn't have Akeem even in the top 4 at prejudging, or at least maybe at the top 4 at the final time they did that last call out, but I don't know. And to answer your question, Ali, who do you think is going to be the Mr. Olympia in the open division this year? Derek. As much as I would probably disagree, I don't know. Hadi needs to be so incredibly good for those political factors to not matter. Because I said Hadi was going to win in 2023, and I don't think I want to make that mistake again. I'd probably give that real last spread to Akeem. He's pretty wide, but he's pretty smooth as well. If you're just looking at pure width, Akeem probably wins that one. Best Akeem in a while, for sure. He's gotten a shoulder surgery. He's gotten that out of the way. He's operating closer to 100%. Breathing, you can tell he's breathing hard, but he's keeping it in. Samson should learn a thing or two. Don't forget about Nick. Oh, that's actually very true, but I don't think... Nick is actually probably one of my favorites nowadays. I think he could have won in 2023, but no, that's a good point. I did forget about Nick because he's just been out of the scene. I think he'll easily win the New York Pro. I don't think anyone will be close. Tonio could talk a big game, but it just won't happen. And Nick could have been, just based on those update pictures that we got when Nick announced, like, he was looking insane. I think he definitely would have been in that. I think he would have gotten to beat Samson, which would have been a step up from the Arnold. And I think he beats Derek, but I think beating Hadi is a little odd. But it's weird because I don't think Derek should have beat Hadi, so it's interesting. But anyway, here's our top 2. I don't think Nick has a chance. Yep, that's fair. Very polarizing. Samson, a little bit of sweating out of the pecs. Hadi, all day long. Better arms. Better V-taper. Now that he's brought his waist in, better V-taper than Samson. If Samson can bring the conditioning, it would even be close to Mr. O. I agree, honestly. Just based on Derek winning last year, but that's a big if. Something is in the air at that show. I kind of feel the same way. Samson looks confident. Yeah. And the margin for your guys' vote is definitely decreasing. After I started looking at the Gilco footage, I realized that it was maybe a bit closer. I still think Hadi is the better bodybuilder by far. But we know that doesn't always matter. I'll be honest, I'd be pissed if it was Samson, though. I think he looks good, but I don't think he does enough. Definitely better than in Ohio, though. And that's the judges reward improvements, so. But Hadi looks insane. And Hadi, kind of cuts into Samson's shape margin, too. And that's really only Samson's main argument. That and maybe Hadi's delts. Yeah, that's a slam dunk. I mean, I don't know if Samson outright wins a pose like Hadi does that abs and thighs. I think Samson may pick off a couple of poses, but it's not like he doesn't have a single dominant win like Hadi does in a couple of shots. I think this is a dominant win, honestly. I think Samson looks too smooth. I think Hadi clearly wins the abs and thighs. I don't think Samson has, margin accounting for something. I don't think Samson has a win like that. Okay, they're going to run him again. Looks like they're both having fun up there. Yeah. I think Samson's just kind of glad to be done, to be honest. Samson number 1. Keem number 3. Samson is fading. Hadi is getting harder. Yeah, I mean, tale as old as time. with the vacuum, the front double biceps became really good pose for Hottie. Previously, he was a little blocky. I agree. I always really liked Hottie's shape in that. Even if he was a little blocky, I liked the look. But now I think he's kind of undeniable. Like, honestly, in my humble opinion, my objective opinion, his shape is better than Samson's in that pose. Back is really close. I have Hottie. I would split the back pose. I would honestly give Samson the rear double at this point, but Hottie clearly takes the rear lat spread. Look at that. It's not even close. Not even close in the rear lat spread. In the rear double, sure, but not in the rear lat spread. So I would each give him one in the back. Make sure you guys like the stream and subscribe if you haven't already. Samson's back just vanished. He needs to bring it up. Shows a one from the back. Legends always preach that. Yeah, and I mean, we kind of saw that at the Olympia with Derek winning. Definitely making this a good show for us. And according to Bob Chick, which means, according to the judges, according to Bob Chick, it's close. And I think if it is close, it benefits Samson, but we'll see. Love the brotherhood. Yeah. Hottie's definitely, I think, turned a corner. Samson is getting annoyed. Bruh. Jesus. Pose down? Perfect, okay. So, get your guys' votes in. If you guys are in the chat, definitely vote in the poll. I want to know what you guys are thinking here. I'm not switching my vote. I still think Hottie is going to be the winner here. And I think he should be the winner. But I think Samson has a chance. Samson reminds me of Sean Roden before he nailed it. That's fair. Who's your dark horse for the O? Nick, if you want to count Nick Walker, because no one's thinking of him, but I think once he wins the New York Pro, he'll be back on everyone's radar. But I don't really know. Let's see. I wouldn't even say Brandon. I think he's maybe a little past the prime. Maybe Crizzo. Crizzo has a lot of work to do, though. A lot of work in balancing his front to the back and the upper to the lower. But he did very well already. Yeah, Nick Walker, if you want to count on, because he's been out of sight, out of mind, that kind of thing, or Crizzo. They're not forcing anything yet. For me, it's Crizzo. If he can be conditioning, I can see him doing well. I think he's been as far as he can go now, without bringing up the legs to match his insanely wide upper body and to bring up the back a little bit more. He needs to bring up those legs in terms of quad sweep, in terms of glutes, in terms of a little more hamstring thickness. I don't think conditioning is a problem for Crizzo anymore. I think he just needs to actually improve now and continue on bringing good peaks. I think the judges want Samson to be the next Ronnie Coleman, but they are so bad that they are forcing his placings. I think they do kind of want another. I don't know how much a dynasty really helps sell tickets. I don't know if it'd be. I mean, sure, it's better for a while because then you can sell like, oh, is he finally going to get upset? But I see what you're saying. Samson's only 31, so yes, he could be the next one. Samson's only 31? Really? Yeah, Samson's only 31. I thought he was a lot older than that. Wow. I know Andrew Jack is really old. Maybe that's who I was thinking of. They're probably going to do a bikini awards or something now.
They were pretty tough. Let's see who can get the job done here tonight. Birmingham, pose down.
Okay, so now they're doing the flex cam again, like a kiss cam, but for flexing. I think he's 38. Just looked it up. Yeah. Samson is 31. I thought he was older than that. I guess these guys just age really fast because of certain things. But James surprised me. He's 33. I thought that dude was like 40. Yeah, Samson is 31. Andrew is 38. "31 is a lie." I think that makes his wife older than him, which makes sense given the dynamic. Yeah, I'm seeing he was born 31, 32. He may have had a birthday already. I don't know. Yeah, because he did have a birthday in March. It says here March 11th. So yeah, 31, 32. Same difference. I did not expect he was 31 or 32. He was born in 1992. It just sounds unbelievable. But he made his progress fast, so maybe that's what's throwing me off. I like how Generation Iron knows the height but not the date of birth on their biography. Like, I figured that'd be the first thing you'd know, but yeah, 31. But I think he did have a birthday, so it's 32 technically. Arnold Classic audiences are big as well. Yeah, honestly, some of them just step on stage. I swear he isn't. Yeah, I thought so too, but I don't know. Samson being born in 1992 just doesn't sound right, but it's true. It's true. He's not 31. Guys, we've looked it up. He is 31.
It's not that what makes him motivational. That's not what makes him motivation. What makes somebody motivational is what they choose to do with their life. It's choices. Because we all have some sort of disability. One of ours is visible. This next athlete, in 2011, he was in a car accident. He was ejected out of his car, and the impact on the ground is what damaged his spine at T11, T12. It's low.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Hottie is 36. I thought he was a bit older, but no, he's 36. Big Rami's almost 40, though. He's 39.
He woke up. He was diagnosed as an incomplete paraplegic.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Arnold Classic UK 2024 winner, Gabriel and Drewley.
Okay, so they're announcing the wheelchair winner. I think there was only 2 guys at the show for wheelchair. So, I mean... Junior, have you heard about Carlos Thomas Jr.? I only know he's doing Arnold Brazil. Unless you're referring to something else. That's all I know about Carlos Thomas Jr. He's doing Arnold Brazil and then maybe another show after that because he probably won't win Arnold Brazil because Rafael will be there. So Rami seems like he's been around forever. Crazy that he's only 39. Yeah, he's been, because he had a long career. Because I think, when did he come onto the scene? Like 2012, that New York pro. And he's been around for, heck, that was 12 years ago. Okay. Probably bikini winners next.
With our bikini UK athletes. And
Yeah, I don't even know a single one of their names, so sucks to suck, but. So I think the margin was slightly narrowing for Hottie, but Samson may have picked up a couple of votes, or percentage points margin-wise, but there are less votes in this poll. Such a shame Rubiel and Andrew Jack dropped out of the show. I've yet to do a video on how they would have done at the Arnold Classic Ohio, because that's such a big what if. Because Andrew at the Olympia sucked. I don't even think he should. I mean, I think Hunter should have beat him, quite frankly. But if you got it at like a Texas Pro, Andrew definitely would have been. He would have been right around Raphael. It would have been, a very good battle of aesthetics right there. I don't think. Maybe Andrew in like his very best day, if he finally brought in like, his best condition, maybe could have beat Samson. Who knows? I don't see him beating Hottie for sure, but I would have seen a great battle between Raphael and Andrew. That's what I think he would have been around. Isn't that the... I guess, no, she didn't win last time. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you at all. Everyone sucked at the Mystery O. Yeah, it had a little to do with lighting, but yeah, I would kind of agree. It's because it drags on forever, and these guys peak for a certain time. They're like, okay, the final starts at 7. Okay, well, it's probably going to be an hour, so let's peak for 8:30. And then when it goes on and on and on, you have to keep feeding, maybe drink a little more, whatever the protocol is for an individual athlete. Andrew's my favorite bodybuilder, but Hunter beat him at the O for sure. Still think Raphael would win that. I think I'm going to do a comparison on that. I think Raphael versus Olympia Andrew. I think Raphael does win straight up. But Raphael versus Texas Pro Andrew, that would be a battle. And I kind of favor Andrew just in my mind, but I'd have to break it down more. Because Brando now, he looks more filled in. Andrew kind of looks lanky in some poses. So yeah, maybe I'll do a video on that. Okay. Ryan Terry. And then Rubiel, I think that would have been interesting. Definitely a big wild card because we've only seen one pro show. He beat Nathan Diasha, I believe. Yeah, I think he beat Nathan Diasha at one of those shows. But so did Horse at Romania, and we saw how that turned out on the Arnold, Ohio stage. So I think Rubiel would have compared well to guys like James, Antoine, John. I think he kind of would have been in that mix, depending on what the peak looked like. As long as he doesn't bring the thicker skin and things like that. In Andrew's defense, he never took an off season. Yeah, he never does. This is his first long ass time. Yeah, he turned pro in 2022 at the Arnold Amateur, and then he did in August the Texas Pro, and then turned right around and did the Arnold UK, and then did the Olympia, and then did the Arnold 2023, and then did the Texas Pro, and then did the Olympia, and then was going to do the Arnold, but then he finally stopped. So it's basically been 2 years in a row that he's been competing. Yeah, he definitely needed a break for sure. And I like how everyone was hating on Greg Doucette, even myself a little bit, um, for saying that these girls, walk back to the curtain and look sexy, and that's what we're judging you for. We're looking at the glutes, and we're trying to see who's the sexiest. Honestly, though, when there's no criteria, that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like the judges are just picking who the sexiest is, who the prettiest is. I don't really get it. Is age a limiting factor for Andrew? It might be, because he is actually quite old, and he didn't get started in bodybuilding. Actually, no, I think he has been kind of going to the gym for a while. I think he's just a phenom that it looks like he's made, it looks like he spent a lot of time building his physique, but he's built it very quickly. Hey, is Chad Nichols still coaching anyone? Seems like the hype already died. He may still be. I don't even think he's working with Bonac anymore. No, I think Chad's done. I think, yeah, I think Chad's done. I think his last guys were. Well, hold on. Was he working with Hassan? He may have been working with Hassan. And I mean, that would explain why Hassan showed up looking like the way he did. But I don't know. Hassan may be working with Aceto. Is it just me, or are Andrew's quads regressing? Looked at some of the older shows he had insane sweep. I think one of them is. I forget which side is smaller, but one of them is smaller. I think that one is specifically. When you age, the legs are the first to go. Very common, yep. If it's not a direct injury, it's just the legs, nerve damage, knee issues. Does anybody know if this was the girl to win last weekend? Was she even there last weekend? Bro, so, bro, what is? I get it, but like, chill. The Arnold UK is an invitational, but it's a smaller show to begin with, and then you had a couple of dropouts. Like, I heard there was like a lot of people gone in the wellness division, and there was two major names out of the open division. Such a weird division. Yeah, I don't know. And not having a strict judging criteria does hurt them in the long run. It really does. It may not seem like it, because it's just like, oh, well, the casual fans don't know either. But not having standard judging criteria hurts. It makes the entire division kind of look unprofessional. Do women even watch this? No, women do not watch this. Women don't support women. It's the same situation with the WNBA. I'm going to be honest, I don't follow the women's side at all. I'm not even trying to be rude. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. But yeah, women don't watch other women. Most women don't watch the men either. But at least the men watch their own division. Okay, and then we have men's physique awards, and then open awards. And you know what I don't get? The lip filler and the implants. Like, it's so odd. It's just like, We shit on men for having calf implants and whatnot, but 99% of women have breast implants. And the thing is, they're noticeable and they're massive. And I personally don't think it's a good look. I don't think artificial anything is a good look for in real life or for a bodybuilding show, but looks like a catwalk with muscles. Yeah. I mean, who is this appealing to at the end of the day? Not a whole lot. They have a man's toughness, but the girl's walk. Breast implants are their version of SEO. True. True. Hey, what's that Matt Hoffman that came out? Not Matt Hoffman. I know you talked. That came out and gave a prize. David Hoffman. Yep, that's the name. Yep. You're right. That was David Hoffman. Doesn't compete anymore. But he should. I think last time he competed was like 2022. 2020. An artificial touch is not bad, but can be overdone for sure. Yeah. I respect these divisions, but I just want to see Hottie and Samson, man. Yeah, I thrive on giving my opinion here, so I'm not going to beat around the bush, but I just don't see the point in having these women's divisions crowd the men's divisions. They would get flat as asphalt without those implants. Yeah. I thought he was going to open. Let me check his Instagram. Yeah, I think David is not going to open. It doesn't look like it based on his Instagram. I don't want to say he looks small, but he looks like he's not really trying to go to open. Leg day is swim trunk shopping day, but some looks okay. Yeah, I mean, some of them look okay. Some of the legs are definitely better than others. Some guys were ahead of the curve before the standard change. I wish they had the names at the bottom of the screen like they did last one, but I guess this live stream was like rushed. So, I don't know. The physique guys are bigger than the classic guys. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. Hoffman's retired, I believe. I kind of got that impression after looking at his Instagram. He hasn't posted a physique update in a while. And even in clothes, he looks a little bit smaller, and he's always in like hoodies and things. Prime retired body dysmorphia. You hate to see it, but it'll get all of us eventually. Like, yeah, I mean, David used to be massive for classic. Like he reminded me of a Wesley Vissers, honestly. He honestly, if he kept going, he probably could have been. And then Vitor, honestly, I had Vitor winning, but I don't think Diogo's going to win this. I'd be surprised if he does. I was in the gym for 3 hours. What did I miss? You missed basically everything. Open awards have not been announced yet. The synopsis is basically Hottie's Mr. Saturday Night. He got better at Saturday Night. Samson got slightly better, but faded maybe a little and not as good. He didn't get as didn't have the margin. How do I want to put this? He didn't get as better as Hottie did, if that makes sense. So Hottie, I think, is still in the driver's seat, but we're kind of getting, the chat and I are kind of getting this impression that Samson may take this one. Even though Hottie's the better bodybuilder, we just kind of feel that air. Maybe we're just getting antsy, but I don't know. And I wasn't listening, but I don't really care. So that means Diogo second. Yeah, that means Corey Morris, or who is that? Emmanuel Hunter. I don't know. I know I got one of them wrong in my recap video, and I didn't even mean to, but I guess I can turn up. Maybe. No, I can't because the music would get me copyrighted. Okay, thanks, man. Yeah, no problem. No problem. That's... Yeah, Diego's second place. It says so on the trophy. And also look at the difference between the muscularity between him and the black guy on his I guess on our left. Like that guy doesn't even look like he's in the same, should be on the same division. And then here's Phil Heath. Tyler Manning said recently they are going to have men's physique guys downsize. They will have lowering weights compared to classic guys with the same height. Yeah, they should continue to lower. They shouldn't push out all these guys all at once. That'd be too jarring. And they'd lose a lot of fans right off the bat. But, they should probably lower it a bit every year. Maybe over the next 5 years, have it come down 20 pounds. A little here, 3 pounds less this year, 3 pounds less this year. I definitely like the idea of it getting further away from classic. We need to differentiate these. Was really gunning for that awkward-ass hug. Yeah, for real. Honestly, it was going to be from that bikini girl that went hysterical. Wow, even Phil made it. I think if Phil, there may be a comeback in the cards for Phil. I think there's like a 0.1% chance, as it usually is, to like a 1% chance now that the Arnold has increased the prize money, but we'll see. Okay, we'll tune in here.
An answer, don't you think so? This was an upset today. I mean, you came in like gangbusters. You did great, good posing, perfect body. How do you feel?
Feel good, man. It's what I wanted. Been waiting for this for, I guess, the last 2 weeks.
Been wanting this for the last 2 weeks, bro. What? That's true. That's true. 14 Olympia titles. Guy in the red trunks should have won. Looks more like Ryan Terry. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, he doesn't even look like he's in the same class as Diogo, though. Like, Diogo is just, like, so much more muscular than him, so much stouter and, thicker. But I see where you're coming from. I do like the leaner but meaner look. I won a smaller men's physique champion. It is what it is. I'm fine with Ryan Terry, maybe even a bit smaller. Bro, what the hell was that? Okay, I worked at the Orleans when they used to have the Olympia. Phil was an ass out of all the bodybuilders. Yeah, I remember when he was asking questions to Sebum at the Olympia, and it was just like he would hype himself up. He'd be like, "So Chris," and then he'd ponder. He'd go, "So Chris, let me ask you, how does it feel to win the title of Mr. Olympia?" So full of himself. I can see. I think he honestly is the only one that is in the conversation to be the greatest bodybuilder, the second greatest bodybuilder of all time next to Ronnie Coleman. I think Phil is absolutely phenomenal physique-wise, but yeah, he is an ass. Men's physique kind of boils down to a six-pack contest. Yeah, that's fair. Open baby, here they come. Yep. So done. The whole idea of the division was naturally attainable physique, something you see at the beach. Yeah, yeah, not anymore. And this is why I don't want the classic weight cap to come off, because naturally things just go for pushing the envelope. Because these judges, they always want to gravitate to the more objective things instead of knocking down more muscular guys. They're just going to try to be objective and give it to the biggest and most shredded guy. When in reality, that's not what classic nor men's physique is all about. Okay, so
We got a very, very close competition here, folks. Let's have our top 6 gentlemen on stage, please.
all right, top 6. Only one of them's out. I would say probably Mo is out, but I'm not entirely sure. Why do black dudes just look better? Not always. They kind of get screwed by the lighting at modern shows because the lighting is awful. But it actually is what you prefer. I think, honestly, the Middle Eastern guys look really good because I think they can kind of bring the fullness and the shreds. Black guys tend to usually be very full, not get as shredded, and then Caucasian guys tend to not be as full, but then get really dry. That just I'd love to see the science behind that. I don't think anyone's studying that, but I'd love to see what the science is behind that.
Ready.
Look at Bob's face. They're giving it to Samson. I'm so fucking paranoid over here. Okay, here we go. I want to turn this down a little bit, so hopefully I can talk over the music.
Thaddeus, please take the 6th place award and present it to
6 bald guys on stage.
Shaban.
Oh, so Mo wasn't in 7th. That means Antoine's in 7th? Who's not there? Yeah, so it's James. And they only brought 6. So Antoine is sitting in backstage alone. Some of men's physique could be in 212. No, they wouldn't make the cutoff. They wouldn't make the 212 weight cap.
Hang on, Mo. Hit a pose, Mo.
Sorry. I'd like to keep the stream monetized if I can. Samson couldn't hold his gut. Yeah. And he was sweating too. You know, these like small kind of professionalism things, they add up.
Presenting ESN.
Yeah.
David, please take
I gotcha.
the
It was gut, not guy.
present it to James Hollingshead.
James in 5th, yeah. I'm glad to see that. I don't think John or Akeem should have gotten beat by James, but that was kind of how they were moving them at prejudging. But I'm glad to see James in 5th. And I'm sorry, I think kind of James is... I don't think he can really do much more from here, unfortunately. It is what it is, but...
All right, thank you, David. Congratulations. Give it up for your own, folks. The UK's own James Hollingshead.
Okay. Sad to see David Small like that, so sad. Yeah, I don't know why he stopped. I don't know why he stopped. I thought he wasn't doing super well, but I think he could have gotten there. Bro, that girl's thick. Amen.
Kevin, please take the 4th place award and present it to John Della Rosa.
So John ended up being in 5th. I'm going to drop this frame rate. Well, not the frame rate, the resolution, so that way it doesn't lag as much.
3rd place check, the 3rd place award and present it to
3rd is Akeem, obviously.
Team Williams.
Yep. So yeah, not too many surprises. Not really any surprises at all. Yeah, Akeem definitely shouldn't be disappointed in that. I mean, probably was about as good as he could do. I mean, Samson, unless he came in like majorly off, that wasn't. This was Akeem's ceiling. This is about as good as anybody could have done, to be honest. Back just in time. Good to see you back, Skip. I was worried.
Presenting the
They're going to announce second first.
Ambassador and 7-time Olympia champ Phil Heath.
Okay. So they will announce second first. The next name is going to be second. Okay. All right. Well, chat and audience says it's Hottie. We'll see.
Phil, please take the second place check, the second place award to your runner-up this evening. Samson Dauda.
All right. So that means Hottie's in first. So that means audience chat was correct. Body's so big in the Middle East. Hottie loses, people will riot. Yeah. But he won. Hottie is your 2024 Arnold Classic UK champion. That's wild. I was worried. I'm not even gonna pretend that I wasn't. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, thank God. Honestly, I think this does, it makes me more confident for Hottie going forward. You know, I think there's a lot of political reasons going up against Derek, going up against Hottie from Derek. To no fault of Derek's own. Derek's just a good ambassador for the sport. He's an American and all that. It's, you know, the IFBB has political reasons for Derek to win. But this kind of makes me a little more hopeful for Hottie, at least a little bit. Samson's so gracious, yeah. Samson is a great sportsman. Yeah, he is. Samson Dauda. Makes me confident about the judging. It does. It does. Yeah, Ronnie is back there. He's presenting first place because he's that young LA sponsored athlete. Yeah, that's Ronnie giving out first place. Yep. Well deserved. I'm interested to see the scorecard since Bob said the judges said it was close. Yeah, buddy. There we go. There we go. I like that trophy. It's different from the Arnold Classic one, obviously. The Arnold Classic Ohio one. This is terrible to say, but I wish Hottie would learn English. His popularity would quadruple. Yeah. Yeah, he just kind of gave up. Ronnie didn't like Hottie, I thought. No, I think he likes Derek more. And I think he had Derek winning the Olympia, which he turned out to be true. It turned out to be correct, so I think he's learning. I think he kind of gave up on learning English. Maybe he's learning a little, but he should definitely try to learn more. We'll come back for the victory speech. Man, it saddens me to see Ronnie like this, yeah. But, you know, you ask him if he'd trade it for all of his accolades, if he could go back and do it differently, would he? He says absolutely not. Instead, he says he would do even more.
Hottie, What does it feel like to keep winning and winning and winning and winning? What does it feel like?
چطوره که مرتب داره میبری احساس چیه؟
خب من از تو الگو میگیرم، از رون کلمن الگو میگیرم، از خود بچه‌ها الگو میگیرم. اینا به من انگیزه میدن. یعنی من عبادا که
I think Hadi is the greatest bodybuilder in the world right now. His nationality and language prevent him from being undeniable. Yeah, I think it plays a part. I love when Hadi spoke English in 2019. Hello, guys. My name is Hadi Chupin, and I would like you guys to come see the Mr. Olympia. He should do more of that.
He's saying he pulls all the energy from Ronnie, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the competitors that are standing next to him, and then from the energy from the crowd, both domestic as well as the Iranians that came out. He wants to say thank you so much for everybody that came out because he pulls energy from all of the fans of the bodybuilding world.
Glad Hani is there to translate. Yeah, his translator couldn't do it at all last time. Hani had to step in even then.
And after I saw you in Columbus, Ohio, winning the Arnold Classic, that you could get any better, especially in the 14 days.
Yep.
But you were better today than in Columbus. Just 14 days ago. It was unbelievable. How did you do that?
خب من سخت تمرین میکنم. یک انسانی هستم وقتی میرم تو باشگاه دوست دارم آهنا رو نابود کنم. و این بدن من خیلی بهتر از این بود. همه میدونن من دنبال ویزا بودیم تو یک شهر دیگه. این همه پرواز رفتیم. با استرس زیاد 12 ساعت قبل از کنفرانس من رسیدم اینجا. حتی وقت نکردم بدنم ریلکس بشه. خیلی بهتر از این بودیم. و من یه جنگجو هستم. برای مدالا می‌جنگم.
He says there was a lot of stress, but he focused on it because he wanted to crush it here at the Arnold in UK. So what he did is he focused, but he had a lot of stress trying to get the visa, getting here 24 hours before, but he was focused. He was a warrior. He just considered everything that he had to do to be done in cross T's and dot I's.
No one believes Hadi is better today than at Columbus. Arnold is kidding. Well, Arnold, I'm not going to say he doesn't know what he's talking about, but I think he just kind of watches casually at this point. He's just happy to be there. You know, he's not a judge. He's not scrutinizing these guys to the level that we are. Was he better for real? No, he was not better. Maybe he was comparable from tonight. But it's the same package at best. Hadi is way too soft spoken, even in his own language. Yeah. Body language he's not. He's really, powerful in the body language and stage presence. Samsung data just needs conditioning.
Why did you do that? I love this guy. I tell you, it is so wonderful to see those Mr. Olympias from the past all promote the sport and keep going and pumping everyone up and inspiring everyone. Congratulations. Keep up the great work. And also Phil Heath, keep up the great work. Okay, thank you very much, all of you. I hope that all of you stay tonight. We'll be back. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Okay, so that's it. That was the Arnold Classic UK. Hadi Chubin ended up being the winner. And I think that is going to conclude the evening, maybe? Yeah, they're just going to take some more pictures. Maybe there's not going to be an announcement like there was at the end of the last show where we're upping the prize money to $500,000. They're not burning the airport in Hadi's country. No question they're on body language, but he talks like a smurf. With all due love and respect. Went from a mid-show to a good one. Plus, free. You can't beat free. In my opinion, it's a smaller show. This one was definitely not comparable to the Olympia, but I preferred watching this over to the Olympia. If this was the Olympia, we'd still be watching women's bikini. We'd still be on competitor number 39. Yo, there's Giles Thomas. Yep, you cannot beat free. Yo, is Hani not Muslim? Because I know it's Ramadan right now. Is that it? Did they stop the stream? Yep, they cut the stream. All right, so that's it. That's it. Thank you for bringing this to us. Yep, Skip, I plan on doing these for just about every major pro show. I've got a whole calendar filled out of every weekend I want to go live, which is several weekends throughout this year. Several weekends throughout this year. Stamps needs to grow his inner unibrow to win. Yeah, so guys, come back for, I know I'll be streaming, what do we got coming up? The Detroit Pro, the Arnold South America first. I'll be streaming that, assuming there's a live stream, which there probably should be. The Detroit Pro is just a week after that. We have the New York Pro a month after that. If I'm not in person at that one, I will be live streaming it. Every major pro show, I'll be live streaming these. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Great stream. They had to be there. Had to be here to know. Absolutely. We have a great time as always. Very nice stream. I appreciate you guys. So we're going to head out. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out if you haven't. So that way you're notified. Even if you didn't watch this one, if you're just tuning in late, definitely like and subscribe. Subscribe, definitely turn on notifications so you know when I'm going live. And I always tell you ahead of time, as soon as I know when and where I'm going live, I'll let you know. Okay. So I'm going to let chat fall off a little bit, make sure no one else has anything to say, and then we'll head out of here. Oh man, live in person would be sick. Yeah, I'm going to try to get to New York. We'll see. We will see. I know Jake Ultimate Fitness really wants me to be there, and I definitely want to meet up with him. Got some Iran love in the chat. Let me go ahead and... All right. So I think that's going to do it for me then. Chat slowed down. Most of the people have dropped out. So if you guys like the stream, definitely like the stream. It's what the like button's for. And then as well, hit the subscribe button on your way out. So that way you stay up to date on all my future videos, my podcast that comes out every weekend. And subscribe so that way you never miss when I go live again. Every major pro show, I'll be going live. Rain or shine, whether it's across the world, right here at home in the USA, I'll be live streaming every single major pro show. So subscribe and come back for those. And really, with all that said, thank you so much for your professional coverage. I appreciate that. So with all that said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe for more. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.